Our ideal partners in business acquisition is someone who has worked to try to buy a business for some time, is disappointed because they would get deals to a certain point and get stopped. And the place where they got stopped is usually in one of two places. Okay, either they couldn't get to a point of agreement on price and terms with the seller, or they got that far and then they couldn't get the financing to get the deal done. So those are the two biggest deterrents to people who are trying to buy a company to succeed. The reason that these are great clients for us is because we solve that problem. We solve the problem because we know how to quickly evaluate companies. See, one thing people don't realize is that if you're going to find a company that's the right company to buy, you're not going to just look at 2 or 3 or 4 companies. You're going to look at 10, 15 companies. I have people who have come through our programs that looked at 50 to 100 companies before they found it. Now, you don't have enough years in your life to look at 50 to 100 companies in a traditional way. Because by the time you look at getting their financial statements, looking into their books and records, and putting a value on the company, and then negotiating with the seller, and all the due diligence you have to, if you have to have that normally done in a normal process, there aren't enough years in your life to look at 50 to 100 companies. You just don't have the time. And it becomes too copious. You got to earn a living during this time, right? You can't just spend all your time doing that either. You have to have tools and ways that you get through these evaluations very quickly, where you can find ones that are available for sale. You can find ones that aren't available for sale, but with the right approach, you can get the seller listening to you as to why they ought to think about selling their business to you. And then you have to be able to get through that process very fast. You have to be able to plug their numbers into a set of tools that tell you immediately, instantly, what the real value of that company is and what you're going to have to buy it for and how you're going to have to structure that acquisition in order to make it work. Then you have that brief negotiating period with the seller. You can see if they're amenable to that structure and that method, and you can do it in days instead of months. Right now, you can be effective at what it takes to find the right business for sale. So that's the first step of what we do, is to make sure that the search process is streamlined, packed with value, and can deliver the optimal potential companies for sale to you quickly. Right? Then you're going to negotiate it, and negotiating the right structure is, again, something that doesn't take a lot of time, but we train everybody how to do it. And if it's one of our done-for-you programs, we do it for our partners. But then the next place that everybody gets stopped, remember, is financing. Okay, so now you go into the marketplace and you're trying to raise the money. So you go to lenders, you go to banks, you go to asset-based lenders, you may go to an insurance company or a pension fund, you may put ads in the paper to try and find yourself a potential investor. There are all kinds of things that people know to do, or maybe don't know to do, but figure it out as to how they're going to raise money. But the biggest problem is something called deal structure. Deal structure. Now, why is that significant? Because how you structure the deal is what makes the financing possible, and not only possible, but probable, because you're able to do it in a way where every lender, for example, has rules. They have rules. Okay, if you're coming to buy a company, as an example, okay, you're coming to buy a company and you go to a bank and you tell them you want to borrow X amount of dollars to buy the company. And let's say you're able to show them where the assets of the company, the cash flow of the company, everything makes sense. You're going to be able to pay back that loan in a heartbeat. Okay, but then they'll ask you, how much money are you putting into the deal? And you're going to say, because you're trying to do this on a leveraged buyout and you're trying to do it without any of your own cash because you don't have that much. And so you say, well, I'm not going to be putting anything in the deal, or what you're putting in is so small is ridiculous, 2%, 1%. They won't make the loan to you no matter how good the deal is. And the reason simply is because you don't have what's called skin in the deal, right? Okay, they depend on you having to take a big loss before they have to take any loss, knowing that's what will motivate you to make sure that you do everything humanly possible to make that company successful. And if you don't have skin in the deal, rule book says, I can't check that box, and therefore I can't make you the loan, no matter how good the deal is, right? You got to know how to structure around that. You got to know the tools and the techniques and the methods for finessing that request on the part of the lender. And your investors will take the same position with you many times. How much you got in the deal? I'll match you. Or I'll put in 5 times what you'll put in, but I want to know you're putting in something, all right? So you've got these limiting factors that we either fully structure and negotiate around for you, or you have to know how to do it for yourself, and we'll train you to do that, and if that's your preference. These are the kind of things that you need top professionals on your team. You need to work with the very people who know exactly how to get these things done. And if you try and just grunt through it and struggle through it on your own and learn through the school of hard knocks, you're going to be doing this unsuccessfully for a very long time. Even if you're just slightly curious about this, just click on that link below, get in touch with us, and let us know you want to know more, and we'll get in touch with you reasonably quickly.